complement of the season, you're welcome to Insight, your platform for social interactions on diverse issues of national interest. Today on Insight, we shall be looking at the open letter authored by the former President Olusegun Obasanjo to President Goodluck Jonathan. The letter quick leveled serious allegations that are capable of overeating the polity, continue to attract comment, analysis, and deep concerns by Nigerians and friends of Nigerians across the strata. While some public analysts describe the letter as egocentric and self-serving, others see it as a wake-up call for President Jonathan, calling on him to address the salient issues therein. This letter, quick to some, is a potpourri of truth, innuendos, and lies will be discussed in our discussion segment. In a couple of days, the tempo of vehicular movement on Nigerian major highways will witness an upsurge. Christmas season, like other major festive periods in Nigeria, puts pressure on the road as people move across the nation to celebrate the Yuletide season. Empirical evidence have also shown that motor accidents and other road mishaps are experienced more during this season. Our guest on a special interview segment today is the Federal Safety Commission Commissioner, Mr. Osita Chizoka, who will be speaking on measures to make the highways safe for motorists and other road users. Of course, our media review segment, we as usual bring to the fore contemporary issues in the media. Edison KDG is on hand. Edison, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Femi. How are you?
Good.
Okay. Good day, viewers. Open letters seem to be predominant form of personal communication this week. Later on the media review segment, I'll be joined by the Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Abuja Council, Primus Kanova, to discuss issues that have been reported during the week. You're welcome to this episode on Insight. I am Enito KDG. Femi.
And I'm Femi here. Thank you very much. When we return, our discussion segment will be on. Don't go away. Welcome back. Letter writing towards awakening social consciousness is not a strange phenomenon in the Nigerian body politic. But the recent letter from President Olusegun Obasanjo to the sitting President Goodluck Jonathan has perhaps generated more controversy than any other in the history of this nation. While some read pure politics and egoism into its motivation, some believe the motive cannot be anything but patriotism and a genuine wish to guide. With me this morning to discuss this letter are Mr. Yinka Odumaki, the Publicity Secretary of Afenifere and a public affairs analyst. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, I have Mr. Babangere Sulaiman, Public Affairs Secretary of the Coalition of Society Group on Transparency and Good Governance. You're both welcome on the program.
Good morning.
Yeah. I want to start from Mr. Yinka Odumaki. The content of this letter, this 18-page letter, is already in the public domain. How will you describe it?
Well, I think the letter that one President Obasanjo was quite not in good faith. A few days ago, the former American President Bush was in Nigeria to deliver a lecture on leadership. And he did say that the reason why American past presidents don't openly criticize their successors is because of the institution of the office of the president. The kind of letter that President Obasanjo wrote to Dr. Goodluck Jonathan is at best a kind of an attempt to play factional politics inside the public and prepare or goad Nigeria into the kind of usual agenda they have always perpetrated in this country. I've read through the whole letter. It's full of bile. Look at the language. I mean, condescending, violence. He's talking about blood, blood, blood. And many people have said, let's take the message and leave the messenger. But in this instance, and I agree with Colonel Abakama, retired, who said that, look, we have to critically examine both the message and the messenger.
Mr. Suleiman, talking about taking the message and cut the hand that brought the message, do you subscribe to that?
Yeah, my brother, thank you very much. You see, I believe strongly in this saying that actions are judged according to intentions. When a particular person behaves certain way, sometimes it is not the action that you look at, but the real motive behind the action. And for us in the civil society group, we are worried. And what worries us more about that letter is how it will affect sustainability of democracy. You know how people fought so hard to ensure democracy is instituted in this country. People lost their lives. And now, here we are. Somebody, by the content of a letter, is beginning to do something that looks like treasonable actions. Because by that letter, tendencies are that military could be incited. And this letter came at a time that, of course, he has opportunity in so many other ways that he could get this letter across. As a former president, Obasanjo is a member of the National Council of State, isn't it?
Yes.
And so there are several mediums that he could pass this letter. Why publicizing it? To create what? To create bad blood and throw Nigeria into jeopardy. So we believe that in anything that we are doing, we have to be conscious of the fact that this is democracy and that any action we take must be seen to be promoting democracy.
Yes, thank you very much. Talking about exploiting other channels of communication between the sitting president and the former president, and of course, taking a look at the fact that they both supposedly closed, as it were. Do you believe that he should have exploited other means of communicating these issues to Mr. President?
Well, I agree totally that there are better ways we could have handled this if you are genuine. But because the man we are dealing with is not genuine, he has chosen to grandstand, to play to the gallery, and to want to use this to launder himself back. And more importantly, I suspect to perpetuate an agenda that's not in the best interest of this country. Because there's a trajectory.
Okay.
In 1976, January 1976, a month before Murtala was killed, there was this kind of document that was circulated to the media, vice chancellors of universities, and that particular letter was copied to General Danjuma, General Obasanjo. It was titled The True Character of Murtala Muhammad, a warning to the nation, a month after Murtala was assassinated. In 1983, Obasanjo was criticizing Shagari government, was criticizing him. It was much more later, and in fact, in a book just released this year, Soldiers of Fortune, Nigerian Policies from Buhari to Babangida by Mark Sionon, where Babangida admitted that the intention of the 83 coup initially was to bring Obasanjo back to power. And let me quote on page 14 of the book, the question that was put to Babangida. It was also said that those of you who ousted Shagari actually wanted to bring back General Obasanjo as head of state in 1984. Is this true? And here's Babangida's answer. It is true. But to be very fair to General Obasanjo, he rejected the offer. He said no. He said it would destroy his integrity, that he handed over to Shagari and that it's not right for him to get involved. But he, Obasanjo, said it was not stopping us from going ahead with the coup. So he had pre-knowledge of that coup, and so he can now take his criticism of Shagari with the agenda of what is called coup baiting to prepare the public for a coup intervention. In 1993, when we had the June 12th crisis, Obasanjo came as he was part of a democracy. This was become the author of interim government. And he only fell with Abacha after they didn't make him the head of interim government. So this time around, as the nation moves close and closer to having a national dialogue, I believe that Obasanjo and his friends are desperately doing everything they can do to abort this national conference. And that's why, because when look at what happened that week, on Monday it was Tambua who started the attack. Tuesday it was Sanusi's letter. Wednesday it was Obasanjo's letter. By Sunday, APC was calling for impeachment.
So you suspect a connivance?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, Mr. Suleiman, in fairness to the former president, he said in the opening page of that letter that I've written about 4 other letters that did not elicit a response. Hence, I'm making this letter an open letter. Do you believe that was why he made it an open letter?
Yeah, I said it before, and I want to reiterate that there are several channels. If he had written a letter and there were no responses, what he need to do would have been to get witnesses. And the witness he would have been able to secure easily would have been at the level of the Council of State, where other presidents will be available.
Okay.
And then he will now make it open that I had written this letter before, and I am also again bringing it to your notice that the president did not respond to this letter at the beginning, and that is why I'm drawing your attention to it. So all of these things that is happening, somehow one would see probably that could it be as a result of senility? If the man losing, because he was a president here, and a lot of things happened. You have past presidents like Shagari and the rest of them, none openly came to criticize him. There are ways that you could do this, and like I told you, we are worried that by the time he continues like this, what will be the fate of democracy? Because democracy is a thing that we,
the coalition movement,
the coalition of civil society for transparency and good governance, continue to ensure that it does not collapse.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Dumakin, one of the weighty allegations in that letter was an allegation of training of snipers and an effort to take us back to the dark ages of dictatorship. How do you take that?
Well, I think that's a very weighty allegation. But I'm also disappointed that a former president of Nigeria, who has governed this country for 10, 11 years, will make such a weighty allegation and be saying, if this is true, if this was so, would make this to look like innuendos, like we are trading rumor mongering, to incite the public to create disaffection, and on a serious matter that can cause serious crisis in this country. It's a serious and weighty allegation to accuse the president of training people to go and be killing people, and I think that the president should lead that to Nigerians. If the allegation is not true, then the former president should be invited to substantiate the allegations.
Okay, Mr. Suleiman, talking about the need to respond or not to respond, do you believe responding is a way of dignifying the letter or a way of putting things in proper perspective? What's your take on this?
Yeah, you see, I read on the paper the response from the presidency,
okay,
where the special advisor to the president on media and publicity also said, yes, they got the letter that Obasanjo wrote to the presidency, and that they were preparing to reply until they just saw it again let out in the public. So if Obasanjo actually wanted a response, he wouldn't have gone public. Now that he has taken it to the public, well, so as far as I'm concerned, there wouldn't be need again to respond to it. If he truly needed a response, he wouldn't have done what he did.
Now, talking about corruption, Mr. Dumaki, President Obasanjo made vague reference to large-scale corruption within the system. And Nigerians have been mouthing this for a long time. Do you think this is a justified reason for the president to respond?
Well, I insist that some of the issues the president needs to address Nigerians on it, but not responding to Obasanjo.
Well, address Nigerians directly.
Look, because these are in the public domain, okay, and you cannot pretend that they are not there.
That's right.
So there's a need for clarifications of these issues to the Nigerian public. The president owes us that, not Obasanjo as a person. Now, by the question of corruption, like my colleague said, corruption, Nigeria is built on the foundation of corruption. And that's why I love Fela Anikulapo Kuti. When they arrested Shagari in '83, after that, Fela came out with a song and said, then go hold Shagari. They say President Shagari is thief. Which president who gets we never see? Say Shagari alone, then go hold. What about the other presidents? And I think about Fela was addressing this letter. Because for every finger Obasanjo has pointed, 4 are pointing back at him. Like I said earlier on, under Obasanjo, this country was voted the most corrupt country on the earth by Transparency International. So under Obasanjo was in charge of petroleum, Minister of for 8 years. There was no accountability. And we saw all the papers Atiku brought out when they were fighting on PTDF. How PTDF was told to flush funds. where the president was asking our cars and seeing the boss for his girlfriends and all kind of things. All those things were there, but I never resolved it today. It was, don't forget, there was a time in this country when the president's gate was caught being used for money laundering by a very close aide of the former president. When Obasanjo left prison in 1998, he's in a record and he can bring out his bank books. His balance in his account was supposed to be 20,000 naira. After 8 years as president of Nigeria, he has gone back to Abeokuta. Go to Abeokuta now, you see his rooftop mansion, you see a 7-star hotel, you see the best school, one of the best universities in this country, you see all manners of investment for it. Where did he get those money? And the people who have copied, General Babangida, we are not talking about corruption, you are copying Babangida. General Babangida, under him $12.4 billion Gulf oil for. See, today, you cannot explain. In fact, in 1992, this is Babangida wrote about Babangida, calling his government of settlements, a government of deficit in honor, deficit in integrity, and today you not see he attacked corruption, and then you first you are copying Babangida. So that shows you the hypocrisy of Babangida. And of course, and interestingly, you have read, you must have read letter by Yabo yesterday in the Vanguard.
Of course I did.
So you have seen that and he spoke today that my father is a manipulator. He's trying to manipulate the public because you will talk about the father. So you told me that you are not told anybody you want your second term, but your body language suggests. Up until Mudisa Obasanjo was still denying that he never wanted third term. Now his daughter is telling us that I came to you to tell you that third term is unconstitutional. That America where we call people yes, them as families. And he told him that no, it was only in 1940 they started that initially they didn't have term limits. Yes, you are telling somebody he wants to seek second term that he told you somewhere that's going to do second term. You did second term, you want to do third term.
Thank you very much. Now, Mrs. Suleiman, one other major issue in that letter was the issue of whether it is right for President Goodluck Jonathan to seek second term in office. Forgetting the fact that there's a constitution that guarantees a second term in office. What's your take on this?
Well, I'm happy that you connected it to the issue of constitution. Constitutionally, it is clear that whoever is the president of Nigeria is eligible to seek a second term, either at the level of presidency or at governorship level. And if the constitution so guarantees, what's bad about it? The other time somebody drew my attention to an undertaking they said the president took before he got support of some of the governors to get him into office. Now, there are records on ground that show clearly that most of these governors that we are talking about did not truly support the president. The governor of Niger State specifically brought his delegate from Niger and gave them to a different candidate. The records are there. During the general election, we saw the outcome of the election spread across the northern Nigeria. All of the governors in the north had said he signed with me to do only one time. They didn't even support him in the first place. So he got his way and did the right politics and he was able to get himself here. And now he's seeking a re-election which is guaranteed by.
So you believe the issue is a non-issue as it were?
It's a non-issue.
What's your take on this?
Well, for me, look, the question is, he says it's constitutional. Anybody can say that anybody told somebody in any beer parlor or anything and the rest. But the issue is that, what does the law say? If Dr. Goodluck Jonathan puts himself off second term, it's left for Nigerians to say, we want you, we don't want you. It's not some governors or some gated general somewhere saying that told us something. And lastly, I want Nigerians to know that there's a battle for the soul of this country. Nigerians must know at this stage now, they should go to the national conference and find solutions to their problems. They should not accept the solution of the generals. Because since 1966, this is a set of people. They have given us their solutions, and this is how they have put us. We must not allow them to give us their solution in their own interest again. Nigerians must go to the national conference, and if we go to the national conference and we structure this country and start on a new fresh place, we will not need an Obasanjo to write letters to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Yinka Odubaki. Nice having you on the program. And of course, the Public Affairs Secretary, Coalition of Society Group on Transparency and Good Governance, Mr. Babanagiri Suleiman. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice having you.
Thank you very
much.
much.
I want to wish you Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah. Up next is our special interview program. Don't go away. Welcome back. It is a known fact that Nigerian economy is road-driven, which means that many more Nigerians are on the road than in the air and on waterways. It is expected, therefore, that from this weekend, vehicle activities will be on the increase on our roads as Nigerians travel across the nation to celebrate Christmas and, of course, the New Year. So what measures are in place to ensure safety of motorists and, of course, compliance with road ethics on our roads? With me to discuss this issue is, of course, the Federal Safety Commission Commissioner and the boss himself, Mr. Osita Chiduka. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
How's everything?
Okay, surviving.
Like I said, from this weekend, there will be increase in vehicular movement across the nation. What measures have you put in place to ensure safety on our roads?
Well, first, the December period, like you rightly pointed out, is a high watermark of travels along during the year. And the travel pattern is fairly consistent, so we know where the fault lines are. We know that the majority of vehicles will be moving down southwards from the north, from the west to the east. So we're going to have high density of vehicles on Lagos, Ibadan, on Shagamu, Ijebu-Ode, Ore, then Benin, Asaba. And then when you get to the bottleneck, the Niger Bridge, after that you're going to see under heavy flow down Onitsha, Owerri axis, going all the way down to Port Harcourt and those going to Calabar, Akwa Ibom. You're going to see the same from Abuja, Lokoja, Kaduna, Kanu, down to Abuja, Abuja, Lokoja, Lokoja, Okene for those going down to Auchi, Benin, and then down south. And then those who will veer off and go towards Ajokuta, Ejule, down to Nsoka, 9th mile, to the east. So by the time they get to Enugu, they will be emptying in again into a single lane from when they get to Ayamba Junction, they will be emptying into a single lane road to the 9th mile. Very dangerous road with wild curves. So there will be heavy traffic on that road. And then there's another bottleneck by the 9th mile corner, which of course the Enugu State government has helped by building a detour that takes you right into Enugu City without going through the 9th mile corner. So basically what has happened in the last 4 years is that government has been responsive in building these roads. All these roads I've mentioned now are either under rehabilitation, reconstruction, or has been fully reconstructed. Okay. So our challenges is that as people leave Benin, Ijebu-Ode, they're going to come to Ore and meet a bad patch. Work is going on there. There'll be a bottleneck. But once they come out of that patch, the road is very good from Benin to Asaba. And then they get to Asaba, they get into a bottleneck. Three-lane roads reduced to 1 lane. And then that is trying to cross the River Niger. So basically, we're going to see high speed of vehicles. We're going to see congestions at these critical junctions I've mentioned, 9th mile, Ore. We're going to see that on the Niger Bridge. Okay. But we're also going to see crashes on certain segments, Asaba Bini Road, because people are trying to cover up of the lost time they've had at Ore. And the roads are pretty good. So speed is going to be a major issue. We're going to see...
How do we prevent the crashes?
Yes. So we're going to see those speeds on Lokoja, Abuja. Now, for us as FRSC, what we've done is because we know this, we've realigned our patrol. We're bringing out all our patrol teams that are in the low-density areas and bringing them to this high density. Okay. Our goal is that at every 20 kilometers, we're going to meet an FRSC patrol team. They're going to have motorized patrol. They're going to have static patrols. And the idea being that they will try to reduce speed. So on Bini Asaba, we're going to be going on both sides of the road, trying to calm down speed. We're going to be very firm in enforcement. We're going to be firm on overloading. We're going to be firm on overspeeding and on route violation. So that way, the drivers are curtailed.
And can comply with the rules on the road.
Comply with the rules of the road.
Thank you very much. Yeah. For 3 years consistently now, you introduced this new innovation of area surveillance. Are you going to do that this year again?
Yes, we partner with the Air Force and Nigerian Police, and we are very hopeful that the helicopters will be available again. Okay. That really, really helps us because, like I said, all these fault lines, we're able to see them, watch the traffic trend at the rear, and then tell the patrol teams in front what to expect. So we have a radio communication with those on the ground, and we tell them, as you are looking now, we have a whole bunch of vehicles in Ore. In about 1 hour, you'll be emptying into your road. So before that 1 hour, you see that we mass up a lot more people on that route. We try to put road dividers and maintain the lane discipline to make sure that people move, even though slowly. So the area patrols have been very, very, very worthwhile.
And so how many men have you deployed? Because I read something on your website about number of men being deployed and number of vehicles.
34,000 men have been deployed for this. 20,000 regular marshals and about 14,000 special marshals. And we're hoping that they are going to be out with a little less than 500 vehicles on the road. Optimally, we will have loved to be deploying about 1,000 vehicles on those roads. That will show the full strength of FRSC, but resources not permitting, we're going to deploy what we have. We have about 70 ambulances that will be deployed across the country. We have about 10 heavy-duty tow trucks that will be deployed in various locations to be removing obstructions on the way. And one of the things that I think Nigeria should do for us, if you see any obstruction on any part of the highway, please call 122, the FRSC call center number, and report the obstruction on the road.
That's very nice. You made reference to that. I was privileged to visit your call center yesterday at your headquarters, and I saw effort to make road safety technology driven. What result are you getting from this effort?
Yeah, well, the results are obvious from the facts I've reeled out to you now, because now the details are not coming 1 month or 1 year after. On real time, we see what is going on across the country. We can tell you with a great level of certainty, like in 2014, will be the first year we'll be announcing our projection of road crashes. We have been able now to use our 3 years data to build a model to project what the crashes will be like in 2014 and what we need to do, and in which roads and in which routes are we going to expend our resources on. So those projections are going to guide us, and this is the benefit of technology. This is the benefit of a business intelligence software that is taking in all the data from FRSC's universe and creating models and simulating what ifs. You know, if vehicles increase by 20% on these routes, what are we going to have? If road conditions deteriorate beyond what they are today, what are we going to have? If vehicles increase speeding by about 20%, what are going to be the likely outcomes? So all these have made it possible for us to know how to project into the future. And it brings me to the issue that all this is possible because our data, our base data are getting better. So we have a clearer understanding of who are the owners of driver's license because of the new driver's license. Because of the new number plates, we now know the vehicles in the country. Before now, nobody knew.
Sorry, we're going to that.
Yes.
But I want to ask that, by sheer coincidence, let me say that Abuja is the capital city of Nigeria, and Lagos is the commercial nerve center of Nigeria. So many people reside in Abuja, so many people live in Lagos. The roads that access these two cities are under repairs, as it were, and they've been marked, so I call it exodus of people out of Abuja and out of Lagos. Are you putting this in consideration?
Yes.
To put measures in place?
Yes, we are putting that. That's why I told you our fault lines will be Lagos-Ibadan, will be Abuja-Lokoja, Abuja-Kaduna, Kanu, people coming down. So all the entry points into Abuja and the exit from Abuja are going to be. And then the roads in Abuja that are now heavy expressways, like the Abuja, the Kubwa Metama Road, which is a very accident road now, the airport road. So we all those fault lines. Yes,
I'm happy about it. Let's go back to the driver's license. What are the advantages? When it was introduced, Nigerians said, why again? I mean, a new driver's license scheme. What are the inherent advantages of the new scheme?
You know, if you have done the new driver's license, and like you said, you were in the FRSC office, you could see that there was no way you could do law enforcement of traffic enforcement by arresting an offender, seizing his car, taking him to the office to ensure that he pays his fine or goes to court. Because if you leave him, he can go away and go and get another driver's license and leave the old one with you. There is no way that if we currently arrest 500,000 people throughout the year for various traffic offenses, that number can triple in terms of making sure that those who violate the rules pay for it. So what we've done with the new number plates and the driver's license is first and foremost to make it possible for us to be able to see a car and say, this car belongs to Mr. XYZ, just by seeing the number plate. And by seeing that number plate, we can be able to go into the infractions or crashes involving that vehicle. By taking a look at your driver's license now, we can tell you the number of times you paid fines for various traffic offenses.
Yeah.
We can tell you the last time you were stopped and cautioned for driving without a seatbelt on. And this time again, you've done it again. So all this information is possible. This whole data that I reel off are possible because the universe of data is clean, where we can pick the information from to build the algorithms to make sure that we understand what is happening is real. So for me, it was a very difficult decision. I thought about it greatly before I embarked on it because I knew that people would say, oh, again.
Is that when it's coming at the same time that you're introducing the new number plate again?
Yes, because the two are tied together. If I don't have data of the owners of vehicles, I won't be able to align them to the vehicles.
Okay.
I won't be able to align them to the insurance. But now, we have clean data that every vehicle with the new number plate that have gone through the full process of registration has a valid insurance. So when we take a crash victim to a hospital now, we're telling the hospital, don't worry, this vehicle is covered by so-and-so company insurance. Because we can go into our system and see which insurance company is covering that vehicle. And we can get them to pay the liabilities for the treatment. So there's a whole universe of benefits that we're going to derive from this. And I sincerely pray that, like everything we do in this country, we're going to sustain it, because by the time the addressing system in the country, by the time we get the addressing system in the country right, when every house in Nigeria is properly addressed and geo-mapped, it will now be possible for us to see a car on the road, know the owner, and know the address of the owner. So you can track him down to an address. These things are the basic things that call for a modern society. You can't have a modern society without
data.
This data.
I know. Yeah, talking about sustainability of politics, I remember there was a time that FRS introduced this reflective tapes thing.
Yes.
It's no more in force.
Yes, because the reflective tape thing, so many people, like everything in Nigeria, so many people went into printing their own reflective tapes and selling to cars. And now we have changed it because there's a regional demand across ECOWAS countries that all commercial vehicles, trucks, must carry full reflective tapes to drive across the region.
All commercial vehicles?
Commercial.
Not private?
Not private, because if you are a private car and your rear lights are working, you really don't need...
There are reflective measures.
There are reflective measures in the car.
That's right.
The places we have problem is you have a truck parked on the road, spoiled, and there is nothing to tell the oncoming vehicle that there is a truck in front of you. So if you notice most of the crashes involving trucks, you see vehicles going under trucks. So if those vehicles, if those trucks are clearly marked with the retroreflective tape, which is now a regional imperative. So from next year, we are going to make sure that all commercial vehicles, especially trucks, trailers, tankers, buses, are fully reflective in the night. So even if their lights go off and a car coming behind them, we'll know that there's a truck in front of him.
So Nigeria's concern is that we hope this new scheme, this new plate number scheme, will be sustainable. Will be sustained even after Mr. Chidoka, with his brilliant ideas and it's a good policy, desirable, will be sustained. That's why Nigerians are concerned that
I know.
they are made to pay for these things at every junction. There's no sustainability. Somebody else come on board and throw it away.
Well, my response to that is that it is the responsibility of all Nigerians to ensure that we have the freedom of information. It is the responsibility of all Nigerians to ensure that government agencies deliver on their promise. So let it not be Mr. Chidoka's promise. It's now FRS's institutional promise. And I'm hoping, part of the reason why we went into the certification of our processes, the ISO 9001 certification, is to keep a system that is run by processes and not by individuals. All processes are documented. How we go about doing everything is documented. So, and there's an external audit every year to ensure that we're keeping together, we're keeping in line with the standards we have provided.
Okay, enough of that. Let's now go into the need for collaboration between your agency and other law enforcement agents towards making our roads safe. Was the FEMA boss was here and he spoke about some responsibilities of FEMA in their mandate that overlaps with yours. That means there must be a synergy, as it were. So are you working towards this?
Oh yes, we are board members of FEMA. I wouldn't know those areas that overlaps with us, but we're in the board of FEMA.
Road safety, so you speak about road safety.
Yes. We're in the board of FEMA. We're represented there, so we have very good collaboration. All our roadside clinics and our road camps are provided by FEMA, and we work together with them. And when we do road audits, when we audit roads and do an assessment of roads for their safety levels, All the information we get, all the observations, we forward to FEMA for action, also to the Ministry of Works or the State Ministry of Works, as the case may be. So we believe that there is consistent need for synergy. Okay. There is also synergy at the level of enforcement. I do not believe that enforcing seatbelts or helmets is the sole responsibility of FRSC. I believe that all the enforcement agencies should be able to, when you stop a car and the person is not wearing seatbelt, you should be able to cite the person for not wearing seatbelt. I think that when somebody is drunk and driving, you should be able to cite him for that, because it is the general safety of society. A drunk driver can, kill innocent bystanders. So it is the response. So our level of synergy is improving, and it will improve more when all this data we are bringing now is shared amongst all agencies, and when other agencies also collect their own data, that we can build a national framework of individuals. So you have traffic offense, you have a criminal offense, you have been charged to court for this, you have a rape case, you have a whatever case. All your details are gathered together and are able to be viewed by different law enforcement agencies.
Towards making all these lofty ideas effective, there's need for enlightenment. How much of enlightenment do you engage in?
Well, I must concede that one of my weakest areas in the FRSC so far has been public enlightenment. We haven't done as much as we ought to have done, because every day I still hear people say things that I thought was, everybody knew about. For instance, I hear people say, why is FRSC charging us money for number plates? Why is FRSC collecting this amount for driver's license? And I've been on air several times to say, FRSC does not collect money from any member of the public, neither for driver's license nor for number plates. All the fees are paid to state governments.
State government?
Yes. Our interaction is with state government. We work for state governments. The data capture we do is on behalf of state governments to keep a national database. The number plates we give to state governments who sell it to third parties. We don't determine how much they sell it. We have not collected any dime. Anybody who gives an FRSC staff money for driver's license or number plate, if the staff is genuine, he will go back to the state government, pay them, collect it, and bring it to you. He doesn't.
So the revenue actually goes into the coffers of
the state government. It doesn't come to FRSC. We have never collected a dime from any member of the public directly. Everything we do for the state, and the state pay us for those functions we perform for them. And the prices for this are set by the Joint Tax Board. Now, you are hearing that again for the first time.
I'm hearing for the first time.
I can imagine that I haven't done well.
I like the fact that there's a good trait of a leader to admit where I've done very well.
Yes,
we need to improve on.
I need to improve on that. Yes, I need to improve on public enlightenment.
Do you think you can get that done through your sector commanders spread across the nation?
They are talking, they are going around, they are having rallies. But I think that part of the thing that we need to do very well, and we have looked at it as one of our strategic goals in 2014, is what we call the Stop and Educate, and also to have permanent days for driver training across all our commands. So voluntary driver training. We're not going to charge any fees if you want to come and upgrade your skills or learn new things about how to drive their cars. Every command will have a day in the month when they will conduct such training free of charge, and people will come, go through defensive driving, functions of FRSC, the highway code, and after that, we put that on your driver's license information that you've attended this training voluntarily. And that for us will help us to continue our engagement with the motoring public. But more importantly, we also want to engage the media. Buying of media time is quite expensive, so we want to see how we can do it under some corporate social responsibility, under some discounted modes, that we can also massively bring the information about behavior change, because road safety is about behavior change.
Yeah. Talking about enlightenment, still on enlightenment, if you visit our motor parks, where most of our public transportation system operates from, you see a lot of activities go on there. People who are drivers consume things that they should not consume ordinarily, alcoholic content. Is there no measure that can be put in place to prevent the sale of such items in motor parks?
Well, people have said that, and I agree, that we should ban the sale of those items on the motor park. But I don't think that will preclude a driver from drinking what he wants to drink. Because if he drives out of the motor park and decides to stop at the next junction and buy Ogogoro, you're not going to stop him. So the fact remains that in the new year, we have gotten alcohol testers from the World Bank. The one that prints out results. You see, people keep telling me we should use alcoholizers. But you see, the alcoholizer, when you use it now, the ones we have now, it will show you the level of alcohol level, but it doesn't print out a result. So by the time you use it again, you don't have evidence against
the offender.
And there is no thing showing that this was used for me. So now, with the new one we have gotten, is able to take it and print out a result. Immediately. So they will be going with a handheld printer. Just like our e-ticketing now, they ticket you on their electronic device, and they print out a ticket for you. The same thing with our speed cameras now. Our speed radars, the one being bought for us by the World Bank, which are going to upscale, will allow you to capture a car in speed motion, and it will show you the photograph of the car and the limit and the extent of the car's overspeeding, and print it out. So you can show evidence when you go to court that this person was overspeeding. So these are the reasons why I think that the long-term measure is random alcohol testing. Not even the ban of those things, because I mean, you can ban it, then it creates a black market. Okay. The people selling it can put it inside bottles of Fanta.
Or they bring, or they bring them from home.
Yes, and bring them from home and keep in the car. So there is a black market that you induce. But when we have massive national random testing, so even if you consume it, you don't know when you are going to be tested. A policeman can stop you at any time, and FRSC staff can stop you at any time. I believe that that will go a long way in inducing the reduction in alcohol consumption.
Thank you very much. Many accidents have been ascribed to activities or overzealousness on the part of people that pilot VIPs. Is FRSC looking at ways to caution the excesses of the convoys we see on our roads?
Definitely. We have worked with the Governor's Forum to train the drivers of convoy drivers, and so far, of the 700 drivers that attended our training in the last more than 18 months, none of them have been involved in any crash. Where we have been seeing crashes are those who didn't attend the training.
So what makes you
so what we are going to do, no, some of them have voluntarily signed up to come up now for the training. Okay. But we are creating a convoy driver's license. Okay. That will warrant not just, you have to first of all possess either a private or commercial license. Then for you to drive a convoy, you then come for this one. And that one will be issued by FRSC. You have to go through a whole gamut of training. So we're going to build training centers for convoy and trailer and tanker drivers. After you've gotten your private driver license and you want to go for trailer and tanker driver, then you must go for to these institutes. Get trained for a number of days and then do a proper testing before you're allowed. So it will be on a state basis. And we're going to have certified vehicle inspection officers who will be testing these people to be sure that you understand. So that when we revoke that license from you, you can never drive in a convoy. If we catch you driving in a convoy, then it will be an offense punishable by jail term.
Okay. Now, you've shifted the goalpost, the deadline for plate number?
Yes.
Till May next year? Why did you do the June next year?
Yeah, because there were concerns.
Were you overwhelmed?
There were concerns about availability from state governments not selling it and all that. And so we went back to the Joint Tax Board and they decided to extend it. My appeal is that people should really, really do that number plate change. Yeah. When you are going for your annual licensing of your vehicles and you add the new number plate, that will be only an additional 10,000 to your annual licensing. If you finish your annual licensing and you go back to change your vehicle number plate, then you have to change your whole licensing, which means that you have to pay the same 30,000, 40,000 again. But if you do it in the process of doing your annual licensing fees, you're only going to be paying an additional 10,000 naira.
So generally, what's advice for motorists and road users as we approach this festive season?
Just take and jeje. That's my advice. Take it easy on the road. Do not drink and drive. Wear your seatbelt. Do not use the phone while driving, and do not overspeed. If you keep these 4 principles in your face, then you will understand that road crashes are man-made, are caused, and they are not accidents. They are not inexplicable events. They are acts of commission or omission.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Nice having you on this side.
Thank you very much.
I wish you Merry Christmas.
Merry
Good luck
Christmas
as Nigerians travel on the road.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that has been the Federal Road Safety Commission boss himself, the Commissioner, Mr. Osita Chidoka. Up next is our media review. Don't go away.
week has been one of open letters circulated in the media. What really are the motives behind these open letters? You're welcome to the Media Review segment on Insights. Joining me today to discuss this issue and a few other issues is the Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Mr. Primus Kanuba. You're welcome, sir. How are you today?
Thank you very much. Okay, fine.
Okay, it's great to have you here. Let's move on to the first story we'll cover for today. Among the open letters, as I said earlier, that were circulated, the two were really striking. That's a letter from ex-President Obasanjo to President Jonathan, and also the reply from the ex-president's daughter, Iyabo, to him. What do you think about the media coverage of these letters generally? And what do you think about the public reaction to these letters?
Well, they are all news sources, good news materials for an editor to play around with, especially when it's coming from a political godfather to a godson, as it were. And that's the one between former President Obasanjo to President Jonathan. Ordinarily, once it's a news that you think has broken, and the media has to keep a good trend, and that's exactly what happened. And the reply, which shows a division within the Obasanjo family, was also a very good news source. And if you discover, in the last few days, the letter from Iyabo has virtually taken the whole shine of the letter from Obasanjo to Jonathan, because it actually portrays, like I said, that the level of morality within the president, the former president, to advise anybody on issues. In African society, the family is supposed to be united. And of course, because of the mood we are, as we approach another transition and politics, quite a number of people were taken aback by the comments of the president. And it also shows our culture. People who are good friends don't fight on the streets in Nigeria, by our own culture. And considering the fact that former President Obasanjo, the high-ranking member of the PDP, as it were, the same party with the president. So,
what did you think about the accusation from his daughter calling him a liar? It was reported on Vanguard on Wednesday, December, that, "Dear Daddy, you don't own Nigeria," and she called him a liar, manipulator, and hypocrite.
Well, depending on the school of thought you belong to, but I think it looks mischievous, because, like I said, within our African traditions, good friends don't fight in the public. Quite some commentators have said that ex-President Obasanjo had several forums to discuss with the president, rather than go public.
Well, he said he's been
trying
to discuss with him, and he didn't get any.
There's this good adage that once the mommy says the soup is very sweet, the kids will break the pot. If coming from former President Obasanjo that Jonathan has some shortfall, what do you expect from those who ordinarily should have respected Obasanjo to accept Jonathan?
Let's move on to the second story, which came out on The Guardian on Monday, December 16th. It said, "Reps probe use of 100 billion by IEM and macro." Now, don't you think that this headline is misleading, considering that this headline personalizes the persons in question and not the offices? Because when someone looks at this headline now, the person will probably think, okay, they started stealing again. What do you think about the headline? Do you think it's misleading?
Well, it does not represent the body of the story, because the body of the story traces the beginning, the origin of the money to ministers and secretary to the government before IEM and Maku. Bringing in the names of these two gentlemen did not really get the story well, and I think the editors at The Guardian we need to have a rethink, because and probably at the review meeting they will discover that it was a big goof, because they didn't touch those who were involved, and that Maku is Minister of Information and Anyin Secretary to the government now does not have to have their names. I do not want to use the word misleading, but I think there was...
No, I think so. I think so, because I went ahead to read the first paragraph, and I quote, it said, how both the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation under Ayim Pius Ayim and the Federal Ministry of Information under Labaran Maku used 100.656 billion naira between 2004 and 2012. My question really is here, when did they come into office?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In fact, the article
2011.
Under, it means it would have happened while they were there.
Okay.
But it did not, because they quoted dates.
Exactly.
So that's why I said there is some element of laziness.
Are there penalties for this?
Yes, there are. There
Okay.
are. Yeah, at a review meeting a week later.
And what are those penalties?
It could mean reassignment. Somebody somewhere will have to pay for it, one way or the other.
Okay. Okay, let's move on. I think Daily News Watch did the same, but then again, it reported it as 100.5 billion emergency funds, Rep, Probe, SDF, and Maku. It still said Maku, but at least it identified the office.
The office, yes.
Okay. Let's move on to the next story.
Some of these things are problems that happen from shared stories, where people decide to syndicate some of these stories among colleagues. So you probably think that...
And not getting it straight from the source.
Because if you look at it, it's not an investigative story, it's a shared story.
Okay, thank you for that. The next story is on Sanusi's letter to the president, where he said earlier last week that 49.8 billion naira was missing, and then he also said that no, it's not the case, it was a mistake. What do you think about, do you think that high-profile, officials should actually take time out to confirm very well before they release these facts and figures, because they are the newsmakers?
Quite a number of people believe that once you get to the marketplace earlier than the other, you are okay. And Sanusi's letter was not meant for publication, because he was communicating officially directly to his boss. The chairman of the board of CBN is the governor of the CBN, who reports directly to the president. I do not see where official communication should now be read on the pages of newspapers. Be that as it may, well, it's not the paper here that group, it's Sanusi himself.
Okay.
Because
you don't think how they may have covered that story?
Yes, because at this level, 49 billion naira, it's not a whooping sum. It's a whooping sum. We're quite, and for sometimes, I as a person, as a journalist, I try to avoid figures. And I've tried to share it with quite a number of colleagues, because a lot of people these days, one of the good ways to blackmail anybody is to say, oh, you've taken this or that.
Why would you try to avoid figures? Just make the story. Facts and figures make
but somehow, especially in these times that you really don't know
when you're not sure. You say over so amount,
you leave out.
About so
Because you see now the whole thing is turning to, if in other good climes, Sanusi ought to just drop it. The headlines today should have been CBN's quit.
No, but it was there. It was on The Guardian on Thursday, and it said Sanusi admits error in $49.8 billion missing fund claim. But then again, this was reported earlier, and
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Should have given it time, some time. The media should have given it some time.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The time is not there, because here you are. At the time itself, it came at the beginning of the week, where you really need to push quite a number of good stories out. Himself, knowing fully whether he has not completed his own part of the investigation.
Yes. Okay. Let's move to the next story, which is... Okay, I'll just ask you this one last question as a journalist. How do you think that are national dailies, do you think they have a part to play in worthy image building when reporting sensitive issues?
Of course, we do. But right now, my take is that the ownership structures of our media these days, especially what looks like the national media, themselves don't have an agenda. So everybody is just doing what you think will please you or please the other person. But we know at the early time of our practice, Daily Times, you could easily predict what Daily Times could be tomorrow. And in the various journalism centers, the idea is that these days, quite a number of things cannot be done because of the situation we are. With the technology itself has taken quite a number of things. Why we do not have electronic meetings, but we rely on the electronic information.
Thank you very much, sir. We have to wrap up now. I'm sure that they will take a cue from what you have just said. Thank you for being part of this segment, sir. Now we have come to the end of the media review segment. I hope you had it insightful with Primus Canova.
With that media review segment, we conclude to this edition of Insight. Thanks for being there, Eniton.
It's been nice having you join us today. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube. It is called the Insights Program. Have a great day. I'm Eniton KDG.
And I'm Femi Adefila. See you next week. Bye for now.